Saturday's announcement did not come as a surprise to many city residents, as the city clerk has long been considered a critic of the Potaro administration. But Lyons has chosen not to campaign against decisions made by the incumbent mayor, but for positive changes in the way the city is run.
Educational priorities need to be re-examined. Our school children must be placed first. And when school is out for the summer, we need to provide them with places to go and things, positive things, for them to do.
Lyons cites Brockton's distinguished history and sees the city's minorities as a new source of leadership.
They must be part of city government. They must vote. They must sit in decision-making positions. This is my beginning, my announcement for mayor, my call to all Brocktonians to join me in making a difference, in accepting the greatest challenge we have had in our city's history. Thank you, my friends.
In a letter to his constituents, Goss expressed his desire to spend more time with his family and to take a much-needed rest.
4 years on the school committee and 10 years as city council, it does take a lot out of you. You get burnt out, you get tired, and you lose interest. When you start losing interest, you're going to hurt the people that you represent. So it's time to back off, take a little rest, get the motor recharged, and see what you're going to do down the road.
Goss feels that he has accomplished a lot over the past 10 years. What he seems to have the most pride in is stopping new construction in the ward.
We had a lot of builders. We had Marioni that want to put a low-income 200 units down the village. We stopped them. We have on North Quincy Street, we stopped the trailer park on North Quincy. We stopped it because this is our home.
Goss's family supports his decision not to seek re-election.
I'm glad to have him home, and I'm glad to be able to sit down and have supper without the phone ringing.
What's it like being the wife of a ward councilor?
Very difficult. It's like you have no life of your own, people calling when you're having supper, and you have to answer questions, and has been very, the years have been very difficult as him being a politician for me and my family. But we have learned to live with it, and I'm glad that he did, because he has done very well as a ward councilor.
So you think he'll be spending...
No, because we're not allowed to. If we do it, we're breaking and losing. We've gone through the land courts, which took almost three years with our attorneys through the city solicitor's office, and we finally got a decision last Friday that the city of Brockton owns the Barganier property now. So now the next step is to see if we can get some state money for cleanup, but we are also looking at a well that was a very productive well on that piece of property And we're going to look into that to see if that is still producing what we think it might produce. So overall, there's 10 acres of land there. The back taxes, again, the courts felt that we either get the taxes or the land, and they decided to allow us to have the land.
It'll be Brockton's ball.
When you're outshot, out-rebounded, and out-hustled, the net result is usually a loss. And last night, the Boxers were outplayed in every phase of the game as they fell to Clifford J. Scott, 77-61, at the Staff Gymnasium.
The Temple three, count it.
Dimitri Charles dominated inside with 22 points, while point guard Andre Adams chipped in with 20 for the Scotties.
Adams ends up with it. He's setting for the three, set shot, good.
Boy, you got to get on these guys, evidently. The game seesawed back and forth in the first half, with the Scotties holding a 5-point lead at the break. But the Boxers came out gunning in the second half, grabbing a lead with 11 minutes left to play. But those Scotties fought right back, led by the great play of Charles.
Charles, they leave Conway alone for the three.
Got to get on those boards.
Dimitri Charles has been a killer inside.
The Boxers were led by Ben Mitchell, who finished the game with 22, but managed only 2 points in the crucial second half. The Scotties' well-balanced attack proved too much for the Boxers, handing them their second straight loss and dropping their record to 3-2 on the season. The Boxers' next game is on January 4th when they travel to North Quincy. I'm Brian Reiser for Metro News. Okay.
Keeps it in. Nice.
In what had to be the hardest hitting contest of the season, the Durfee Hilltoppers skated by the Brockton Boxers 2-1 last night. Both teams had chances early on, but it was Brockton's Kevin Charleston who drew first blood at 10:37 of the first period.
Charleston turns in, shoots.
Oh boy. Oh, you're not going to find a prettier goal this year by a Brockton forward.
But just over a minute later, the Hilltoppers tied it up on a goal by Bobby Raposa.
Back to Brum. Brum, snapshot, save! PJ Rukitz, goal!
Go Raposa right there.
The second period was filled with vicious hitting, and at times the game seemed to be getting out of hand due to the lack of calls by the officials.
Dumps it back in. Charleston, who's offside.
The referee's got a call there right there. 18 just threw an elbow high up in his head.
No whistle.
At 11:39 of the
nice play by LeBoulier, who's looking for Garner. The old give and go. LeBoulier right by Quill, right in on Rukas. Shot scores by Brum. Sends it up to
remained a hard-hitting contest, but the Boxers were unable to come up with a game-tying goal due to the solid goaltending of Steve Bartello. The loss dropped the Boxers to 1-2 in divisional play for the season. I'm Brian Reiser for Metro News.
Brockton still pressing. They're not going to get it done. That's it.
Two of them had handguns and one of them had a sawed-off shotgun or rifle. The two victims were robbed at gunpoint, and the female victim was raped at that scene by two of the males. After the rape, they were allowed to leave, and as they were running up the street, 4 shots were fired in their direction, and fortunately they weren't struck.
Any names you can give out, any information that would help maybe apprehend the suspects or help the people that were attacked?
We don't have much available. All we know is it was 4 males, black males apparently. They all had dark clothing.
Gentlemen, Dad, put your hand on his shoulder. He's getting out of the house. That's it.
You want him to look like he's signing.
Okay, thank you.
See you down, Bridgewater.
Yes, sir. We're at the putouts.
Last 2 nights, the home tournament, and it was not sanctioned initially. You know.
Foremost, it was an education. They've got an excellent communication school there, and secondarily, it was a great football school. They're in top 10 in the country, and they seem to be moving forward nicely. It came down to Virginia and Michigan State, and there was some question to those schools, and I ended up only taking a trip to Syracuse and worked out for the best.
We've trained out a lot of student athletes that have received full scholarships, and almost all of the athletes have taken full advantage of these opportunities too, which is the important thing.
How do you think Brent will fare in Syracuse?
I honestly believe that Brent has a great future at Syracuse, and of course he's 6'6", 300, probably even play bigger than that because he's just a guy that's still growing, and I can foresee the days that we may see him on NFL football.
Now we're looking for the turnover.
That's what happens, and it's not just.
Yes, we have a goal.
And just 2 minutes later, Brockton tied up the game on a power play goal by Chris Ailes, with assists coming from Quill and Charleston.
One man back. Alice right back to Vin Quill, moves in, slap shot, save, rebound, Charleston, Alice, go!
But it all unraveled in the third period for the Boxers, as New Bedford scored 2 quick goals, both by Tom Raposa, to put the Boxers away for good.
Now Raposa, plenty of open ice, right by Quill, slap shot, scores! Raposa, Tom Raposa, plenty of moves, and he's on the run again. Right by Alice, the shot, scores! Tom Raposa!
The Boxers fought hard to come up with the tying goal, but even pulling their goalie to get the extra man on was not enough, as Tom Raposa completed his hat trick and scored the empty net goal with just 2 seconds left.
Dumps it in, fans on the shot, and that'll do it. Long shot, scores!
1 second left in
the game for New Bedford.
The loss dropped the Boxers to 1-3 in league play. The Boxers' next game is on January 30th when they travel to play Durfee. I'm Brian Reiser for Metro News.
Puck is still loose. Now Gonaville. Quill crashes. Puck is cleared. 10 seconds left in the game. Alice dumps it in. Fans on the shot.
That's an important part of the game.
On Saturday afternoon, the Boxers had their best offensive performance of the season, beating Cambridge Ridge and Latin 7-2 at the AZF skating rink. Sean Cummings netted a hat trick for the Boxers, including this power play goal, putting the Boxers on the board at 7:17 of the first period.
Outlet pass ends up with Charleston. 3-on-2 break. Charleston winds up wide. Cummings shoots, scores! Example.
And just seconds later, in a beautiful end-to-end rush, Kevin Charleston put the Boxers ahead for good.
Shoots, scores!
Rob DeWitt chipped in with 2 goals, contributing to the Boxers' well-balanced attack. The win raised the Boxers' record to 4-11 on the season. Friday night, however, the Boxers basketball team suffered their second loss of the season to Big Three rival New Bedford, 75-62 at the Staff Gymnasium. Senior forward Matt Poitras led the Whalers with 23 hard-earned points.
A foot taller than anybody New Bedford has. Poitras, nice job to gain control, and he hits.
The Boxers stayed close until the Whalers' sophomore guard Marcus Wills exploded for 18 second-half points, including this monster jam.
Jams it home!
Seniors Steve Shorey and Ben Mitchell led the Boxers with 17 points apiece. The loss dropped the Boxers to 11-5 on the season. I'm Brian Reiser for Metro News.
Let's hope.